Do you still believe in defunding the police?
I believe in public safety. And
Does that mean driving dollars away from law enforcement? You said, quote, I'm going to take $1 billion from New York City Police Department. Do you still think that's a good idea?
A congressional hearing took a bizarre turn when a Democrat witness was asked a simple question about a comment she posted online and refused to answer it 5 times in a row. Here's what happened. Texas Congressman Brandon Gill opened by asking witness Maya Wiley a direct question: do you still believe in defunding the police? Her answer dodged the word entirely, talking instead about driving dollars to public safety. He pressed harder. During her mayoral run, she said, quote, I'm going to take $1 billion from the New York City Police Department. Does she still believe that? Wiley deflected, saying she was there to talk about hate crimes, not her old campaign. When pushed again, she finally admitted, I stand by my run for mayor. Subscribe right now for weekly congressional breakdowns that cut straight to the point. The congressman then read Wiley's own LinkedIn post celebrating Kamala Harris ascending to her, quote, black job. He asked directly, what's a black job? Her answer, you'll have to ask Donald Trump. He pressed again, same answer. He asked a third time, could Hillary Clinton have filled that black job? You'll have to ask Donald Trump. 5 questions, 0 direct answers. Very typical for a witness. Dr. Carol Swain then exposed something deeper, that in 2002 the SPLC reportedly had more paid informants than actual KKK members. She revealed that while the SPLC successfully bankrupted real hate groups, they ignored the new Black Panther Party intimidating voters at polling stations, and instead targeted groups like Moms for Liberty and the Center for Immigration Studies. Her conclusion, the SPLC has become an arm of the Democratic Party that should not hold nonprofit status. A witness who would not define her own words, an organization that went from fighting real hate to labeling parents and Christians as extremists. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Could Hillary Clinton have filled that black job, what you call
you'd
a black
have to
job?
ask Donald Trump.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for holding this hearing, and thank you to the witnesses for taking the time to be here and testify before us. We certainly really appreciate that and appreciate your expertise. Ms. Wiley, I have a couple questions for you. Do you still believe in defunding the police?
I believe in public safety, and that means driving dollars to where we're most likely to prevent crimes from happening and ensure that we have responsive law enforcement that doesn't violate people's rights and it prevents crime.
Does that mean driving dollars away from law enforcement?
It means making sure we're driving dollars to the things that support public safety, and that's a variety of things.
So possibly away from law enforcement.
Well, I think we have law enforcement. We have talked about the need for law enforcement, particularly when we're fighting hate and bias crimes, which
I agree, we
have more
certainly
than doubled in this
need law
country since
enforcement.
2015.
Law enforcement's
So I think
very important. During your mayoral race a few years ago, you said, quote, I'm going to take $1 billion from New York City Police Department. Do you still think that's a good idea?
Well, I'm here to talk about hate crimes, not my run for city. I stand by my run for mayor, and I appreciate the opportunity to try to drive dollars to public safety.
You have to cut the police budget and change what we mean by policing. Do you still stand by that statement as well?
I stand by the need to invest in community safety, to ensure that we have a vibrant civil rights community that is able to participate in keeping our community safe from hate and bias.
Investing in community safety by defunding the police?
I am here to say that I'm really grateful we have the Southern Poverty Law Center because it is doing work, including with law enforcement,
you think defunding the police makes our community
hate
safer?
and bias
Okay,
crimes.
I've got another question for you. What is a black job?
You'd have to ask Donald Trump.
I'm not sure what that means. I'm referring to a statement that you made a year ago on your LinkedIn. I was so honored and proud to be a New York State delegate for our next president with Vice President Kamala Harris ascending to her black job.
Donald Trump made a comment that was very stereotypical about black people, and it was a joke about his stereotypical statement about black people.
What is a black job?
You'll have to ask Donald Trump.
I have to ask. Well, Donald Trump's not on the witness stand. So
well, I'm here to talk about hate crime, which I hope you want to talk about as well.
If the gentleman will yield, I can clarify that.
No, I'd like to hear it from the witness, but I appreciate it. Could Hillary Clinton have filled that black job? What you call a black job?
You'd have to ask Donald Trump.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Dr. Swain, got a couple questions for you. And thank you again for being here. In your book, The New White Nationalism, which is excellent, you wrote that in 2002 there were approximately 2,000 KKK members in the entire nation. Sounds like you believe a large portion of them were paid informants. Do you think that the SPLC was involved back in 2002?
Well, there was a scholar named Larry.
If you can turn the mic on, please.
There was a scholar named Larry Wilcox that I referenced, and he did research, and he was very critical of the Southern Poverty Law Center, and he said at one point that there were more paid informants than actually KKK members. And I would concede that the Southern Poverty Law Center was very successful as far as bankrupting the neo-Nazis and the KKK. So I would concede that, but I will also argue that as early as 2009, when I wrote the article that triggered the Southern Poverty Law Center, at that time the new Black Panther Party was patrolling the polls, I think in Philadelphia, and they were intimidating white people, and they had sticks in their hands, and the Southern Poverty Law Center had not labeled them as a hate group. And so in the blog, where I ended with, instead of monitoring hate groups, the Southern Poverty Law Center has become one. Instead of labeling or listing the new Black Panther Party, what they did, they went after Lou Dobbs, and they went after the Center for Immigration Studies and anyone who questioned liberal immigration policies.
Mm-hmm. And we've got about 15, 20 seconds left. Can you just, to sort of close us out, what are the dangers of paying for these informants and extremist groups like the KKK?
You get biased information if you're paying people for information. And one of the dangers for our society is that the Southern Poverty Law Center has pretty much become an arm of the Democratic Party. They are very partisan. They should not have that 501c3 status if they're going to take a side in, if they're going to be biased in how they monitor groups and how they destroy individuals like me.
Thank you, Dr. Swain.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from New York is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, could I just do one UC?
That's what I'm doing.
Well, I think they both want. Okay,
Oh,
go ahead.
so sorry. This is in direct answer to the gentleman from Texas question. New York Times, what's a black job? Trump's anti-immigration remarks are met with derision. Trump accused immigrants of stealing black jobs during Thursday's debate, prompting criticism from Democrats and other social media users. So I'm glad to see that the gentleman's on our side. Thank you very much.
Gentleman from New York is recognized.
I have another unanimous consent motion to enter into the record an April 17th letter from the attorneys for the SPLC 4 days before the indictment, where the organization reminded him of his obligation as a federal prosecutor to inform the grand jury of information that negates evidence of wrongdoing by SPLC, of which there is much.
Without objection. Chair now recognizes gentleman from Washington.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and our distinguished panelists. You know, I don't know what happened to the Southern Poverty Law Center. I know growing up in the inland Northwest in eastern Washington, I had some fond, at least favorable memories towards the Southern Poverty Law Center when we had an Aryan Nations compound in the Coeur d'Alene area, and it resonated with me that the SPLC had played a role in getting those folks out of our communities, and it was generally viewed upon favorably. So I don't know how it went from that organization to what I think today could be accurately described is an almost militant, weaponized arm of a progressive Marxist political project here in the United States. So I guess, you know, Mr. O'Neill, I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase "jump the shark" in Happy Days when Fonzie jumped over the shark, and it certainly the show went downhill from there.
Yeah.
And you spoke about the quest to start to focus on raising money from SPLC, but how did this organization again go from doing some good work against real racists like the Aryan nations to suddenly targeting people trying to exercise their First Amendment rights and care about kids like Moms for Liberty? Where's that process?
Yeah, the answer to that question is long and complicated, and that's what my book was trying to do. But so first, there was Morstees, who was a consummate fundraiser, and he decided to take the SPLC in that suing the Klan direction. And the lawyers said it was like shooting fish in a barrel. But I think the real answer to your question, the substantive answer, is that we've seen on the left this ideological drift where it used to be that they would stand for your right to disagree and speak openly, and now it is as though if you disagree with anything that the left says, you must be a vile racist hater. Like this has always been a little bit of the rhetoric, but it got supercharged after 2020. And one of the reasons why Moms for Liberty is on the hate map is because many people on the left seem to work themselves into a lather and think that America is still systemically racist. And critical race theory is so deeply, their idea of critical race theory is that white supremacy is so deeply embedded in our institutions that you have to have a fundamental revolution on a systemic basis. Otherwise, you are supporting white supremacy. And that's the main reason, I think, why the SPLC justifies calling conservatives the infrastructure upholding white supremacy.